Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, panelists Bradley Ellis.
Yo.
Michael Huber.
Bradley Ellis.
My high-scoring co-moderator, Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And making it all happen by starting the Zoom call in Slack, Ian Hank.
Daniel Bloodworth.
I should let you know about Ian's internet. We had a little hiccups there. We'll see.
There's a hiccup.
We'll see if we hang on. We might have
Everyone
to ship
else
ownership.
paused their Last of Us download, and I didn't.
Oh no! The sacrifices you have to make for the Easy Allies podcast. We're here right now to talk about some of the biggest news in video games, but before we do that, we have to atone for all of the mistakes that we made last week. Ian, put that drink down and please begin corrections music. The Outer Worlds has a trailer now that's 1 minute and 15 seconds, but did not when I checked, I swear.
Damn!
Would I lie about
It
trailers?
was actually in the
112.
eShop?
Would I lie about
said
trailers?
like 112.
It's in the eShop now. Ian would have won. It was not. I swear, it was not there. And that's always the key. Is it's always
When we film.
have I at that moment at the time of the podcast.
Darn.
So, but it's up there now. Resident Evil 7 VR is still exclusive to PS4 despite a campaign from Oculus to get it on PC. Romania is a part of Europe, so a Romanian castle is also a European castle. We were talking about RE8.
Whoa.
Okay.
Right. No, it was not. Yeah, there were several of those. Ghibli Soot Creatures debuted in My Neighbor Totoro, which I saw for the first time last night.
Oh,
It's on
Great.
it's on HBO Max or HBO. It's hard to tell what's HBO and what's HBO Max now, but
Let's not get into it.
it was available and I watched it and loved it. They are not in Howl's Moving Castle as we supposed. Deathloop uses the invasion mechanic from Arcane's scrapped game The Crossing, which I imagine you can probably get more information of if you watch the no-clip documentary that they just came out with. Kena Bridge of Shadows release date is not TBD. It's confirmed to come out holiday 2020. That's my bad. Stray is not PS5 exclusive, along with like a ton of other ones. Blood. This is like the console exclusive thing versus exclusive to the PS5.
The Annapurna press release just said PlayStation 5 console exclusive, did not mention PC at all.
Ian, what you got?
I got Kenna on my fantasycritic.games.
Nice.
Good pick.
And the player character is the one apparently being grabbed by the motorcyclist in the Ghostwire Tokyo trailer. So when it jumps off, that's you.
That's
You
what
get
I
grabbed.
thought.
So
That's what I thought.
I don't know if we said that or not, but
We
end
did
corrections
not, but
music,
I thought
please.
that. Oh, boop.
Nice. Gaming Gladiators is winding down. Dun 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 dun.
Dun, dun,
There's some big
dun.
names I pass every single week. Hubert, I'm not saying Chris Redfield isn't big. I'm just saying they're big names that I'm like,
I mean,
too
he's
soon.
big now.
Too soon. Before we move into those. So I am wrapping up Gaming Gladiators in the next coming weeks. And so it's time for me to stop beating around the bush, stop skipping these things. Varun Kachwaha. Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid versus Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. The
Solid
first
Snake.
game.
Snake.
The first
Solid
game.
Snake.
First games.
Snake.
You're not even gonna think as
Snake.
excited
Perfect
as you are.
clone. Perfect clone. Move on. He's a perfect clone. Sam Fisher's just a human. Moving on next.
As excited as
done.
you are for a new Splinter Cell,
It's done.
in that they're
I won't
naiveness.
even entertain the thought, Jones.
Yeah, sorry,
Nothing against
Jones.
Splinter Cell.
Because you did say the first game, right? We're talking first game?
Metal Gear Solid 1, Splinter Cell 1.
Yeah.
I won't even entertain.
Sam Fisher's already an old man. Right? Like, we haven't gotten to Old Snake yet. Sam Fisher's, he can't keep up.
And I must admit that, this probably wasn't, Varun was probably not the only person to do that, but this was posted this week, and I figured it was time to do it. But damn. All right. It's time for news. EA Play we just watched. It's fresh. I figured we'd talk about it right now because it just happened. And I made some notes. There are not a ton of games, so we can really go through all of those moments. But I specifically want to talk about things that I noticed. They did a Nickelodeon Sesame Street numbers game that we had to play. That was a thing.
The
Yeah.
EA Play?
That was really weird.
They didn't
Really,
really make
really
it
weird.
a challenge.
Yeah, make it something besides EA Play or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really hammed it in. I don't know.
I gotta admit, it stood out. Because I've been there in person. I've been to EA Play. They put on a good show. Lots of lights, lots of production value, and those little numbers were interesting. The little letters. UFC and a golf game are both in development.
In theory. I liked
Yes,
it in
yes.
theory.
Yeah.
I like to play games. I wish it was more something like Blue's Clues. I'm like more active, and maybe they can have Twitch
I
integration.
mean, dude, they should have spelled skate.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They should have spelled something that would have revealed something, not just the name of the show.
That's
Scat?
so smart, dude.
What's scat? There were no remasters at all. We talked about remasters a lot, or at least I did, before the press conference. No Anthem, not even mentioned, not even in a montage. Apparently the Bad Company remasters canceled, and there's also some stuff. Are we still learning things? UFC game and a golf game are also in development. I think it was Damiani that dug those up. Did he got an email? Did they?
I'm not sure where that info came from. I remember hearing that.
He said it was a tweet from someone named
from Jeff Grubb. Yeah.
Grubb, yeah.
It was
I don't know who that is.
Surprisingly emotional. Probably the most emotional EA presentation I've ever seen. The Sims montage I thought was really well done. They had a lot of players talking about how they find better lives through the game. Joseph Ferris was, presented a lot to be Joseph Ferris, but he also talked about his 5th film that he's making right now, short film that's about kind of inspired by his youth. And when he first started showing footage of it, I thought, wow, this production value for this EA Play is really great. Like, oh, it's a movie he's making. And I make fun of Andrew Wilson all the time because he's just one of those EA execs that's just very, cheeseball and very disingenuous, I feel. Or at least slightly, which can go a long way in press conferences. I thought did a fantastic job. I thought it was just very patient and, definitely following a prompter, but I definitely felt like that came from the heart. But as far as games, we can talk about what I thought were the highs. Obviously, Squadrons. Did this, for me, went up. Did everybody's Squadron stock go up after you
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Expectations were very low, considering the state of Star Wars in film and games. I know Fallen Order was amazing, and Battlefront 2 has had quite a turnaround. So, the game stock has risen, but still tempered my expectations. And I was very surprised by how into it I was.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it at all before, so I'd say after seeing it today, I'm cautiously optimistic. Yeah, hearing that you guys, Huber or somebody told me it's a $40 game, which makes sense, because it looks like just a mode from Battlefront that they cut out to me, kind of like a very, big and fancy mode, maybe.
And
It's
they
like
don't really,
Elite Dangerous, but...
And they haven't really talked about this, but I remember them making such a big deal when Battlefront 1 came out that they're like, we went to the vault, we touched Vader's helmet, we went with the scans and we got everything. And it's like, it's not like Motive's going to be like, no, we'll make our own X-Wings. Like, clearly, I imagine a lot of that stuff is changing hands. So it makes sense that it's not, smart of EA. And I think that's the thing that struck me today after everything is, there was an effort made on behalf of things that they think people want to see. It's just as a presentation, there's just not a lot going on immediately. And as we get near the end, not a lot going on potentially in 2021 either. Lost in Random was rad. That was really great.
Yes. I rewatched that trailer again afterwards. It's such a cool looking game.
And I wondered if I was thirsty for something like that in this presentation, or if it could actually really compete with, we'll get to the Guerrilla Collective and Future Game Show and stuff later. I think that would still really stand out. I think mine would flip, if I saw something like that.
It certainly would have been at home within any of those.
Yeah, but...
And it would have stood out still, I think.
And they, had kind of a lighthearted... I just wanted to point out the production values were kind of fun. Like, the developers had that animation where they were, all cartoony and...
Yeah.
You like the Madden FIFA trailer? Yeah, having all their quotes. And yeah, you with a FIFA fan, number 20, over here, Ian Hink, you like that FIFA trailer.
Love FIFA.
All excited. FIFA.
Yeah, the FIFA trailer, the FIFA Madden trailer, I actually really liked. It was like a fun trailer. The effects, I think I mostly liked it from a graphic design, visual effects kind of standpoint. They had just cool animated segments in between with 2D drawings over 3D models, which I thought was fun. And the music was cool because it mixed in some classical themes throughout, which I thought was cool. I thought it was the best trailer in the presentation. Maybe tied with the Nightmare Before Christmas one.
I thought it was a cool trailer, but it was very empty. I have no idea what.
Right, but also, that's what I liked about it, because the FIFA and Madden don't need to be an EA Play because they're gonna sell hotcakes no matter what. It doesn't matter. Maybe, I don't want to speak for people, but I would guess it's more Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Star Wars fans, Sims fans watching these than Madden FIFA fans. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my assumption. And so you don't need to waste 30 minutes on FIFA and Madden. So that was also part of why I liked it. It was short.
Yeah, that was nice that it was short.
I think every Madden and a FIFA in a new gen has launched on console with like a total of 2 minutes and 45 seconds of gameplay shown. Like, I think they all just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like 30 seconds. Did you see that? And you're like, yeah, come on. Like, let's see somebody actually play, which makes me wonder if it wouldn't have been playable, obviously, on PS5 or Series X, but if both of those games would have been playable at an actual EA play. If we had not been stuck at home. And so,
it's going to be cross-gen, so yeah.
Do they really want to blow their budget on a thing that they're like, well, people are going to be playing it anyway and talking about it positively? A demo would be nice. I try to think about like the lowest lows, and like I wasn't really mad at anything. Like Command and Conquer, I think got way too much time, and then there was those 4 games at the end, which is like, now I see people at BioWare getting excited on social media, and I'm like, okay, this was a big deal for those those companies, but. During the video, it was kind of...
I thought it was a pretty slow start. They put a lot of time kind of recapping the success on Apex Legends. They spent a lot of time telling you that things were going to come to Steam, were going to come to Switch, but like a lot of that stuff was just really empty because they didn't have specifics other than things that we already knew. Other than it's like, oh, here's a number, this many games. I'm like,
7 new games are coming to Switch in the next 12 months.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty terrible all around. Like, the Star Wars could have been shown with the Star Wars presentation earlier. They showed the cinematic.
Don't get me started on that.
Like, that easily could have been there, and then, like, what does this have other than, like, a really cool skate announcement? But again, that could have been anything. Like, that's years away.
That could have been
nothing to latch onto. Yeah. So...
Well, the thing I heard, and I'm not sure what the source of this is, so, take it with a grain of salt, could be total bullcrap, but I had heard that they ended up releasing the Star Wars trailer earlier because of a leak. And so they put that out there earlier since like people already knew something about it.
You just dropped
the
trailer.
And I think that's why it makes sense that we ended up seeing the same trailer again, because they already had this stuff packaged up.
Yeah, it was already exported.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, yeah, leaks are not their fault. So then I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
EA has long been an offender at E3's past of doing the talking head thing to death, and like this one was just as egregious as before. I mean, tempered, I guess, by Andrew Wilson talking about current issues and talking from the heart. Basically, long story short is they did talking heads too much. Andrew Wilson's thing was all right because he was talking about modern events, but the Star Wars thing, like, cut the interview out entirely. No point to have an interview for the Star Wars thing. Just show that gameplay. Yeah.
I'm assuming you talked about Star Wars Squadrons, but I only got like half of that.
I don't know why it's being weird.
Yeah, I thought it's the problem with the gameplay. I think they should have just dropped the trailer. I don't think there should have been like a tune in for a trailer thing. It's like just make it, have it be a Pokemon Snap thing where we all wake up and like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that was happening. And then like 2 days later, then we see the game. And the whole attitude about treating gameplay like, oh, you want to see this? Oh, we have that video. Oh, maybe it's coming up in just a couple minutes. It's like EA loves to do that. They love to do the talking before the video. It's like, just roll. If you want to save, that till the end because you care so much about people watching the whole thing, fine. But just roll into it, and then we can talk about it after the fact.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder, if the intent was forced to not know about this Star Wars game ahead of time, how that would have changed our perception. To just suddenly get like a new Star Wars game dropped in the middle of this. And,
always,
this October, yeah.
It's just surprise, and the more you surprise people, I think the bigger impact you have. I definitely want to talk about It Takes Two and Rocket Arena. Rocket Arena is funny because it kind of has that like fun. There's like that rollerblade game at the Ubisoft press conference. It's like press conference is always like right smack dab in the middle. Always want to have something that's really just kind of frivolous and something that, again, you can't really like get mad at. But
like that, was it Destruction All Stars or whatever that PlayStation had last week?
Right.
Yeah. Very similar. Wheelhouse.
But It Takes Two looks like fun. I can't remember. I remember like drawings and stuff and environments, but we didn't see those two little doll things run around. But that's a total shift.
Definitely some moving environment shots, but I don't remember for sure if we had the characters actually
Yeah, I think it was
platforming.
just environments. Yeah.
Huber, you're not getting 2 ways out. Are you mad?
No, absolutely not. Because Brothers and A Way Out are both just incredible games. I absolutely love both of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, just as excited for this one as I would be a sequel to either one of those. Like, absolutely. The premise sounds really, really intense stuff for a game. Definitely.
For a studio like that is so relatively small, I think I actually prefer them to keep developing new ideas, keep going into different directions, rather than, oh, this is what they're gonna do for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it's actually really cool.
Same.
So, Brad, I like those mobile games, right?
Yes, I do.
You can spend crystals in a lot of these games to speed stuff up. That's the big thing. You got stuff that takes time to build. You spend crystals. I got this game from Criterion, which is probably Need for Speed. I got this game from BioWare, which is probably Dragon Age 4. I got what has later been confirmed as Battlefield 6, and Motive's new game. What am I spending crystals on? What do I want to speed up development of these 4?
Dragon Age, to me, that's the most interesting to me. Because it's been a while. It's been a long time since Inquisition.
2014.
I think it was like 2013 or 14. Because it was cross-gen, I remember. So they've been working on this game for a long time. And like just the development hell that BioWare's been going with all their games. I'm super curious to see this game.
Can you wait for Battlefield, Huber?
No rush.
No rush? Cool.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, no rush.
Good vibes.
Battlefield
No,
like goes on forever when it comes out.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like 4 years away and I'd be fine. 5 years.
But that's how I felt about this last foursome at the end, where I was like, great. They're working? Fantastic. But I thought it was still kind of rooted in the Criterion footage. Looked gorgeous, man. Like little relays.
Sure.
And it's just funny to lay that all on one person. She was just like, all right, let's wrap up this presentation. I'll take this. I'll take it from here. Greg Miller.
Did we see the announcement of just the graphics or title, or not even title, just like dragon on a wall carving of Dragon Age? Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was
at E3.
Oh,
2 years ago, the Game Awards.
2 years ago, Game Awards. Yeah, wow. It's been so long.
Or a year and a half, rather. And then, Huber, I'll never actually play through Shenmue 1, 2, or 3, but I love that it happened. I love that you got those games. I feel the same way about Skate. That's just it's not fantastic.
So
that it's
long.
just a couple guys sitting in a chair talking about it.
They're
but
stoked, man.
Yep.
I
Just
thought
the
that was
announcement itself, the acknowledgement that it exists and it's coming is such a win for any fan of that series. And the way they were talking about it, just you made this happen. We're so pumped. It was great. That was a feel-good moment and definitely one of the highlights for sure.
Do you think are we reviewing Skate? Who's reviewing Skate? Who's the Skate fan? Who's the big number one Skate fan of these allies?
Me, Brad.
Brad
Ben
can do it.
Ben loves it.
Yeah.
Ben loves skateboarding.
Yeah.
We got years till that game, so.
Yeah, that's years away.
A while.
This Saturday, we all got together and we watched, I think, the largest number of single game announcements I'd seen back-to-back in my life. We watched Guerrilla Collective Day 1, PC Gaming Show, and then Future Game Show. I want to talk about all these three things separately, starting with Guerrilla Collective, the whole thing, Days 1, 2, and 3. But between that and EA Play, I don't think I'm coming back to a podcast to moderate with more potential what could have been E3 style news this summer. We have a lot of other events happening, but they're either focused on one single game or one publisher, and will likely be EA Play sized. But this was so huge that I tried to think about kind of what was the story around each of these things and look at how they would have been different in a typical E3 year if they would have happened at all, and kind of what their future is now if they, if everyone's Konami and everybody's like, oh great, Bethesda, let's show up next year. And it's are we still going to get a future game show? Are we still getting Guerrilla? But starting with Guerrilla, too many games to talk about, from all three events. It was split up over 3 days. How do we feel about that? Blood, you said you watched a little bit of day 3. What did you think of the whole setup?
Oh,
third day on a Monday.
I kind of just caught it out of the corner of my eye, because I always have the Twitch tab open. The thing with that, I feel like they did a pretty good job, but it might be better for them to condense the announcements to one day and then have the demos on another day, and just throughout any time that you're going to have a demo, when that announcement comes up, do a little flag and like see more tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know, and give the time and everything, because like the kind of like pro and con of these shows is you're seeing so many different things that are so not mainstream that there's one thing that's going to resonate with me, and there's one thing that's going to resonate with Huber, there's one thing that's going to resonate with Ian. Like, and you're not going to want to sit through 8 to 10 minutes of something that maybe Jones would really like, but I don't have no input right now, you know? And so I think that it makes way more sense for me to like, okay, introduce me to this game on one day, make sure I understand what it is at least, and then, okay, you want to see more? Come back tomorrow, 12:30. We've got a full demo.
Like a treehouse model almost, although they sometimes announce things in treehouse as well. But.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it's freaking awesome that these games are getting the spotlight. Like, this is their chance, right? They have so many eyeballs, but it is really hard to kind of keep track of a lot of them when there are just so many flying by you, one after the next. They all kind of start blending and molding together. So, but then again, at the same time, like that's their time, and the ones are gonna stick out, and you know, so many eyeballs. Like maybe it's not all that bad. Maybe just for us because we try to cover them all. But if you're just like a gamer watching, like, oh, that one looks cool, write it down. Oh, that one looks cool, write it down. So.
But I mean, for that reason, I agree with Bloodworth, because the most eyeballs I'm willing to wager were on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Blood's totally right. Like, announce everything day one, and then deep dive days 2 and 3. It would just, everyone's a winner that way. Most eyeballs on all the announcements, and then come back if you want, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I often wonder when you see a lot of attention paid to something, you have developer interview, you have Metal Hellslinger showing up like 3 times, like, is this...
Haven as well.
You know, where does this end on behalf of the publishers? Just like, you know, knocking on everybody's door. Like, we have so many videos, we want to give them all to you. Or, you know, are these decisions, you know, largely made by the people that are producing these segments and, you know, these opportunities they have, these slots that they have in the rundown. They kept passing it on. Both days, I just saw day 1 and 2, and like they both have a different style. They had a lot of like presenters come in on day 2, which I did dig, like seeing Daniel Dwyer and people coming in and just talking about RPGs or strategy games or something specific.
Yeah.
But they also passed it on to other groups, and like Paradox Interactive was super cringy, you know, and like their studio where they
I would have rather the Guerrilla Collective day 2 stuff been on day 1 and Paradox just been somewhere else.
It's almost like Paradox wanted to do their own thing, and then we're like, oh, you're doing this other, well, do you mind if we just record? It was just funny to do a wipe to the same desk, you know? It's like, let's go to the next room. It's like, no, it's the same room. It's just different people in here now. And then, you know, it's funny really getting a big taste now of all of these different attempts at doing Zoom conversations and stuff. Or like, even when they're on the back wall and it's like, hey, Barbara, how you doing? I'm doing okay, I think. It's like, that 2 seconds is long. That's a long 2 seconds.
Especially when they
when
were
you don't
editing,
need to have it.
Well, especially when they were editing between the wide shot and the close-ups anyway. Like, do the hey, Barbara, how are you in a close.
Right.
Toss to the wide for the wall. I think they were different sets. I think Greg was on the Kind of Funny set, and I think Paradox was on there.
No, I
think
mean
it means within Paradox.
Like they would finish
finish
talking about Empire of Sin or whatever, and then they'd be like, okay,
well,
back to you, Gene,
totally
and then
right,
Gene's like, thanks, Gene.
The Paradox thing, like, I didn't even consider it as part of Guerrilla Collective. I thought it was just like, oh, now it's the Paradox show, which is funny because I guess it was the same.
Yeah.
Guerrilla Collective.
And that banter, man. You know, we just talked about EA Play, like Miller bantering to himself or to, you know, other devs, or like the two of them bantering back at each other. It's like XCOM, man. Like you have a 99% fail rate on like banter. Like every now and then you might get something. Same as the Oscars. You know, it's just like those jokes never work. But we got the Weird Metal Hellsinger podcast with Dave Goldfarb and Troy Baker. Dave Goldfarb, one of the most relaxed press conference people, maybe the most I've ever seen in my entire life. Remember he had his like head over his hands?
Right.
He was like, hey, what's up? It's Dave Goldfarb. And he was just so, this casual call with Troy Baker. But Huber, you liked Empire of Sin. Why did that stand out? Everything that Guerrilla did, why did Empire of Sin speak to you?
I'm I love history, and I'm fascinated with the mafia. A lot of that has to do with my dad, and obviously like popular cinema and shows and stuff. And it just looks like a totally unique take on the mafia. Like, this is a type of game that we don't have a lot of, like a strategy mafia simulator where you're trying to like take over the town. But it also goes like deeper than that, deeper too, which I really like, and that's what really stands out is, you know, you build relationships, you can go in and like you have dialogue choices with people. So yeah, just the whole vibe and mechanics of this game are speaking to me.
Hell yeah, dude.
They focus on that one character, talking about all these different like big personalities. Did they sell you enough on that one character for you to like be excited about like the other people that are in that game, or are you just kind of, or you're stoked about the world and the combat?
Yeah, world and combat. Like I hope you can like make your own mafia person, or like if there's, because I'm pretty sure they said there's some that are just for the game. They're like not really real people. Like I want to be someone like that. Like I don't want to be Capone or something. I want to be some no name coming in taking out Capone.
Richard Harrow.
Exactly.
Well, I wonder if you play as like a bunch of different people.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Like maybe bounce around.
And I had read just an interview with Brandon Romero in PC Gamer like a year or so ago about this game, so it's just been in the back of my mind, like on my radar for a while.
Yeah, it was at last year's E3, right?
I think, and it definitely popped up, yep. So it's been around for a while, and then just, this presentation just keeps selling me. And the combat looks really cool, too. Like, I didn't even really know it was, like, kind of XCOM-y.
Yeah.
So,
it was kind of funny, and it turned out that the character was really funny with his blasphemy and stuff move. But, like, when they were picking characters, it was really funny because they scrolled by, like, a bunch of people, and all of them looked, like, super weird and interesting, and then they picked this little guy in a suit, and I was like, that's the guy you're showcasing? Like, he's the most normal dude. But he turned out to be pretty cool, too. But, yeah.
So, really hyped on it.
Brad,
Guy works on a bank.
Baldur's Gate moved from the PC Gaming Show to this. Started the PC Gaming Show. We were like borderline upset when they like just did some really weird short interview, repeated a lot of events. Ben's like, I already know all these things. And then this year I thought was really cool, and I have not caught up on Baldur's Gate from this morning, but
I watched it.
Yeah, where you at with Baldur's
Hour and
Gate?
a half of gameplay.
Man,
Are you kidding?
that beat
No,
everything.
I'm
Like,
not.
screw Squadrons, man.
Like
that
a
was
full deep dive of just showing this game off. So this is like a CRPG. These are the guys at Larian Studios that made the Divinity series.
Yeah.
I had never really played any of these type of games my whole life until Ben's like, hey man, you gotta try Divinity too. I was like, whatever, I'll try it. Then I tried it and I was like, oh, this is real good actually.
Yeah.
So these guys are getting to do Baldur's Gate, which people love, and this game has everything Divinity does and more. It's like Divinity with a high budget, actually. Whoa. Like in Divinity 1, you would talk to someone, or Divinity series, it'd just be like a portrait and just like text, but now it's like full-on Witcher cutscenes when you're talking to people and everything like that.
Wow.
So high budget. And like it's used D&D rules, so we played D&D obviously for a couple of years, so I'm like seeing all these dice roll now, so I'm like, oh yeah, it reminds me kind of playing of D&D. Me and Ben were like, oh, we should totally make all of our D&D characters in this game and see how it goes.
That's a good
That's amazing.
But man, they were just like showing off, like he'd try to do something and something would just go wrong, like a dice roll would go wrong, then he'd just get in some brawl or something like that.
Yeah, didn't he jump off a roof at some point or something?
Yeah, so this game you could do a lot more like platforming, it looked like, a lot more verticality. Like he did a jump and like fell and like fucked up his legs and he was just like stuck there for a while. It looked really good, man. I was super impressed.
I saw Divinity Original Sin 2 at back-to-back PAXs, and both of those demos in person by the crazy guy in the video. I'm sorry, I don't have his name on hand, but and we at the Guerrilla Collective we got a supposed release date for the beta, which is going to be August.
I think the early access. I think they're shooting for August right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if
August,
they hit it.
maybe.
That's the plan. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it looked great.
But that also kind of, I don't know, I get from them like a CD Projekt Red vibe where it's just like they care so much about their material that they're like,
you could feel the passion as the guy was playing the game.
We're not missing up this opportunity. And boy, oh boy, do they seem excited to work on D&D. Bled, you were, on day 2, you dug the Eternal Cylinder, and rightfully so. But why specifically Does everybody remember? It's the toilet paper roll of death. The one that's all on fire and
I don't think
just
I saw this. What
rolling
was
over
this?
everything. And there's a little. It's the
The
guy.
first thing in day 2.
Okay.
Oh, I
It was-
didn't see day 2.
I mean, it was literally like a like lava, like hot cylinder, rolling through the environment, rolling up everything in its path, and you play as these. I don't know. It's like this weird. It's like a balloon with a floppy elephant trunk. It's really bizarre
I
looking.
figured out. Wait, I know the scene. Blood. I know the scene. Hubert, Fifth Element. When when he's choking and he hits the button and the thing opens up and the little like guy comes
Yeah.
out.
Oh
what
my
it is.
god.
That's what it is.
Oh my god.
I knew it was from Fifth Element, but I'm like, what is in the airport scene or what? Like,
A cherry.
Deep cut.
sorry, Blood. Continue.
Wow.
But
That was bothering
yeah,
me.
so it looks like there's ways that like your creature evolves or whatever, and then there's all these other like really just bizarre, kind of dark, just strange monstrosities. Like just it's just like it's on this line of like almost but not quite grotesque. It almost has a bit of that Oddworld vibe to it, but I think it actually plays it off
Yeah.
a little bit better than Oddworld, because Oddworld now it's too dark.
Yeah.
That
and-
trailer
or-
was dark.
Yeah. And whereas like this still has a bit of that, but it's also still wacky enough that it's comedic too. So I'm really curious to see how it's gonna play out, and I get this sense of it's almost like a little bit of like just like a different style of like a Katamari or a Watam or something, where you just like any corner that you turn, there's like some other weird thing to kind of like freak you out.
And we got to see it twice because they had to restart the day 2.
Yeah.
The second time. It's like, does it make more sense? Less sense? The PC Gaming Show was back. PC Gaming Show is 5 years old, 4 years old.
Wow, was it that old?
I want to
Yeah.
say 4.
Yeah.
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 And I really enjoyed this year. We didn't have a live audience this year, and I don't know if I missed them. Obviously, I think
No,
Ian, you would disagree. No, you would agree because you want
I
to
agree.
prepackage as much of the stuff as possible. So yeah,
I
do you think
thought-
they're gonna go back?
I hope not. I thought that this was PC Gaming Show at its best. I think that it was zippy. It was quick. They still did a little bit of talking. They still did a little bit of sales stuff with the PC build, but they
Yeah.
did it in a fun way. That was, I mean, obviously it's a commercial, so it's like never gonna be like, yay, show me the thing. But it's like, you know, it wasn't some guy walking on stage with a briefcase and opening up and showing you a video card. You
Yeah.
know, it's a robot with a cool bronze thing built into an urn. It's like, all right, like it's whatever.
I think Day 9 and Frankie helped that so much.
Day 9 and Frankie are great. I really think that they do a good job. And I like the two hosts thing, and I liked the weird like narrative they had going in a bunker, you know. Yeah, I thought it was good across the board as far as the show goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the humor can get very exhausting before, but like I definitely tolerated it this time, and I'm curious like what specifically changed. You know, it's like as much as I love Greg, it was definitely a little cringy sometimes during the EA Play, and I thought it seemed like they were making the most of, you know, the situation that they were in, and Elise was in it too. So.
Elise was in it too.
Yeah.
I think Day 9 and well, I don't know so much about Frankie, but Day 9, like he's a streamer. He's used to just talking off the cuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Greg is too, but like Day 9 kind of just has that more relaxed, less presenterly kind of
It
vibe.
feels like he can kind of just do more of what he wants.
Yeah.
They're very upfront with their sponsorship. Like, we definitely heard about people that they were grateful that helped out at, you know, Games Radar producing Future Game Show, and then obviously the Guerrilla Collective, you know, had a bunch of sponsors they mentioned each day. But PC Gaming Show has that, like, Troy rig, you know, like, they're definitely very upfront about, you know, talking about, you know, hardware, which completely makes sense for a show like that. But is that special to PC Gaming Show? Do you think that only fits that vibe, or is this something where, like, all these other upstart, up-and-coming press conferences that might come back next year, do you think they might want to kind of attach more to one specific thing?
I think that's just saying the PC Gaming Show. Because, like, hardware is synonymous with PC games. Like,
Right.
that's they go hand in hand, so I think it's totally in place, on brand. Yeah. I never have a problem with it. It always looks cool. It's always ridiculous, like the big Troy thing. Like, what?
But like if Games Radar gets Mountain Dew, you don't think that's going to help him kind of energize things? Maybe give him some extra resources, get Nolan a stage so he's not doing it in his office. And
I don't know what you're saying.
Emily Rose was like on the corner of the couch.
Future game show.
Yeah. I'm saying, is the internet buckling? But Huber, you were into Mafia Definitive Edition from the PC Gaming Show. And you've been like upset. I'm interested that you picked that.
I wasn't interested. I wanted to discuss it.
That game. Okay. Yeah. Discuss.
Because like, I'm nervous about this game, and this is a really important PC game for me because this is came out in like 2000 or so. It's one of the earliest games I got to play on a PC, and again, it's the Mafia vibe. Like, there's not a lot of 1930s, 1940s classic American Mafia stories in games, and this to me is the absolute pinnacle of Mafia stories. So I just wanted to highlight it. I will say I'm, to quote Ian, cautiously optimistic
for sure, yeah.
about it, because what they're saying about like, hey, we're keeping all the set pieces, the story, all of that, we're keeping that intact, and that to me is a big win. But it was concerning when he said, we wanted to make it more modern, because in the original game you're driving like 1920s, 1930s cars that go 20 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. They accelerate at a snail's pace. You legitimately drive through this game like a snail. There's nothing really to do in the open world, which I love because it's just this immersive world that you're in. It's the backdrop, it's the setting. You're not supposed to go running around causing chaos. But judging from Mafia 3, which definitely went more in line with Grand Theft Auto or Ubisoft, that is a little bit concerning. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic because of what they're saying about the story.
Yeah, here I think they'll keep the story the same, mm-hmm. and I think if they add a ton to the open world, I don't know if it'll be like a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand them doing changes like widening the road, because honestly, Huber, like, most people don't want to drive 20 miles an hour.
I know.
And be like a slow burn.
But that scares me, right? It's like, I get this is a business. I get you're trying to go mass appeal and build this franchise. But like, the heart of Mafia was that it was realistic like that. If you speed, cops pull you over.
Yeah, but what if it's still like that? Like, cops will pull you over, like in 2 and stuff.
That'd be cool. Maybe like different modes, different difficulties.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that would be the dream.
Yeah, I share. Like, I can totally see your side of being cautious about it, especially with a game that means so much to you.
Yeah.
And they botched the other versions, so
yeah, the remasters for 2 and 3 were.
But I'm hoping, Huber, this was like the main thing they've been doing.
Totally. The budget seems
like
there.
The other two are just kind of like afterthoughts.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I really feel like it. Without looking into it, and I'm sure somebody can correct us, but I feel like most likely the team that's working on Mafia Definitive Edition had nothing to do with the other two.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Hangar 13 worked on 3, and I think they supported their name was on the Definitive Editions, but I think it was outsourced to another studio.
Yeah, so I imagine that like the problems that 2 has right now are probably not going to carry over to 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it still goes back to that strange decision to release the quote-unquote trilogy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what weird marketing play was that? Because from what you're saying, Mafia 2 wasn't ready.
No.
It's not ready for prime time.
No, finally patched today, actually.
Okay.
1 month later.
There's
1 month later. Yes.
Wow.
So
I
haven't had the chance to test it, see how it is, but they finally did that. But yeah, I'm hoping they learn from 3, because 3 critically was not adored. It got pretty bad reviews all around, and it also, alienated the fans that loved the authenticity of 1 and 2. But we'll see, because 3 again, like, the story is there. The story of 3 is amazing. So as long as I get that, it won't be a total loss.
Ian, we got a lot of demos. Which is another reason, I mean, just across the board, like even the last couple days. And so it's another reason this really feels like kind of the big E3 week, or as close we're going to get to something like that. Way more than we could play, but you checked out Gloomwood, which was in the PC Gaming Show, which was from...
New Blood.
Was from New Blood, which Dave Austry's a buddy of mine, good team.
He's buddy of yours.
He's in New Zealand,
what?
I see him in a bunch of events.
Buddy of yours?
That weird guy with all the... Which I haven't seen him do a lot of press conference stuff. Like he's definitely involved in their marketing, but
I'm still confused. We asked he's a buddy of yours, and you explained by saying he's in New Zealand.
Yes, he travels.
What does that mean?
That's why. Again, I'm sad we don't have PAX and everything because people fly
Is
out.
he a buddy you see once a year?
I only see him, at Dice in Vegas is where I met him.
So
Okay,
you've met him at PAX a
at
couple
PAX
times.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't have many friends outside of this business and this industry. It's not a shocker. I hang out with a bunch of people Amanda knows, but as far as like my close friends, a handful maybe. But yeah, Gloomwood, baby.
Gloomwood, baby.
Gloomwood.
So, Gloomwood, I don't know if any of the rest of you had a chance to check it out, but
I haven't gotten to play it yet.
Oh man, I loved it. It's a quick demo, maybe hour and a half.
Quick demo? That's not a quick demo.
Well, it's
Took
yeah.
me
It's like
45.
what?
Took me 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't have a concept of time. Could be like an hour. But I was looking for secrets though. There's a door in the demo that there's a coin slot next to it, and I had 9 gold coins, I think, and I think if I had 10, maybe it would open. I don't know. I put
I feel
all
like
these
it's
coins
not-
in this door.
I feel like it's not in the game yet, Ian, that door.
Maybe.
Like, because I did the same thing. I was like, what the hell? Maybe
I
it's
put
just like
all
not
my
in the demo.
coins in it, and I was like, did I not have enough? Like, what is it?
I was like, it ain't my coins!
Punch the thing. But yeah, it harkens back, and it's in that New Blood kind of style where, like kind of old school, but feels new and zippy and snappy. It's kind of a combo. It reminds me of an old game called Blood in an interesting way, but it takes place in a kind of creepy town, whatever time period that is, kind of like Plague Doctor-y time period. Feels like maybe East Coast. I don't know. But yeah, you sneak. There's combat, a little more combat than I thought there would be, but it's not like Doom or anything. It's like the enemies are a big deal and ammo is scarce. So like you are. It's a survival horror game, kind of. It's not like scary really, but yeah, you're definitely like sneaking around, trying to conserve ammo, using your melee attack to get the drop on people when you can. You have a cane sword as your melee weapon, which is always sick. Really, really good. Something that the demo showcases super well is interconnected areas and like shortcuts and unlocking things. Like you'll unlock a door and be like, oh, I'm back here. Okay. So like something I love in games is like, I mean, Souls games do this all the time where like the first bonfire in the area, and then you get a second bonfire way over here, but then a shortcut opens up and you're back kind of by the first bonfire. So the first one is your first and third save point, The demo does that here, like where the first save point, you can only save when you're at these gramophones, so it really keeps the stakes up. They're really tense moments when you're like trying to get back to a gramophone and be like, oh my god, like I have no health. Healing items are really scarce. I was playing, I think there are difficulties if I recall, and I was just playing on normal.
One of them is Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
And I imagine that it makes the enemies tougher, but probably might add them too, because and there's cool traversal stuff, like classic old game stuff, like ladders, underwater, secrets. It's just a lot of fun. If you miss those old kind of exploration, find the secrets, try not to die games.
I do.
Yeah, this one's right up your alley. Plus the vibes are just super cool. It's like really creepy, and I really, really liked it. Hopefully it comes out soon. I don't know when it comes out.
That's what it said. They
Yeah,
said
it's-
soon.
It says soon TM.
Oh, that could mean
for
a
the-
long time.
on Steam, it says
Yeah.
soon TM as the release date.
New Bloods have a lot of they do a lot of stuff. They have lots of updates and so I don't think they have
Dusk
to wait too
from
long.
them was really cool. I played a lot of Dusk.
This dude to piggyback on Ian, this is like one of my most anticipated games. Period. Now this game is freaking amazing. I love this game.
Yeah.
The only weird thing was like some of the classic video game stealth where you can kind of just like I'm right next to you, but like I'm not in your vision cone.
Right.
There's some of that, but Blood Moon actually I think removes the vision of their eyes, so you don't really know if they notice you. So that kind of changes that up.
There's one enemy type, the guards, their eye color changes if they see you. One cool thing is light is a real big deal. So like if you're holding the lantern, an enemy can see you from like anywhere, like really far away.
Okay.
But if you're not holding the lantern up, you know, it gives you way more leeway there. So like one time I fell in a pit and I was holding the lantern and I got swarmed by like 4 guys. And then the next time I was like, okay, don't have the lantern out when you drop in there. Yeah, really cool. Really cool stuff.
It's such a good time for gothic horror, like Lost in Random. Not really horror, but definitely gothic. And Vampire the Masquerade. You didn't know about Gloomwood before Saturday, right, Ian?
I did not. Ryan Stevens of Game Trailers fame messaged me on Steam while I was playing the demo, and I remembered it because I saw him playing the demo on Steam.
Nice.
And then he was just like, we were talking about it, and he was like, Goaty, you know, more like Goatwood, I think is what he said.
Goatwood, dude, yes.
Yeah, which, I mean, hey, it's going to come up. But he said he'd been following it for a long time, so I guess information about it had been out for a while. But yeah, this is the first I'd heard of it, and I'm happy I did.
Brad, you've been following Mortal Shell, which you dug from the PC Gaming Show. Did your Mortal Shell stock go up on Saturday?
Kind of, yeah. I saw a little more. Kind of yes, Jones, and kind of no. Like, it was nice to see more of the game just to get a better idea of how it actually worked. Then they showed that, like, some boss fight, I guess, at the end of the thing, and it looked really, like, not great. Like, just okay. But I love those kind of games, so of course I'm going to check it out and see how it is. But I'm not expecting it to, like, blow me away by any means.
Have you ever met one of those type of games you didn't like enough to at least check it out, like to maybe talk about it on Frame Trap or review it or something? Has anything you've ever seen you've been like hard no just looking at this?
I haven't really played Lords of the Fallen. I think that was like a really early one of that. I think Mike told me it's just okay.
Swimming.
I just never
Swimming
really
in
got into it.
sevens.
Yeah, I just never really got into it. But that's about it. Like I've played like Ashen, Code Vein, Surge, stuff like that.
So they did do irreparable damage.
No, like it didn't like make me more hyped, but it didn't decrease the hype. I guess Jones still kind of the same.
Ian, you like those types of games?
I do like those types of games.
Is anything? Is that doing? You gonna be busy playing Gloomwood, or are you gonna check out Mortal Shell?
I mean, I'm gonna check it out.
And Dark Souls Remastered.
I hope it's good. The trailers look good, and then the boss that they showed, it was kind of strange, like no music. It seemed like a weird. Maybe there's some kind of mechanic that makes this game special, but also doesn't translate well to watching it. Because if you don't, because it seemed like there was like some weird petrification thing happening that didn't seem to correlate with being struck always. Maybe my memory's faulty, but like it seemed like it just kind of happened sometimes.
Yeah, like they both were being petrified.
Yeah. So it seems like there's something else going on that maybe doesn't translate super well to seeing it without anyone explaining what's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. But yeah,
well, and there's this whole thing where you get knocked out of your armor sometimes.
Well, yeah, or like your
maybe
your soul gets knocked out and you go into a new bot. I don't know.
Like all that sounds interesting to me, but I have to play it to really get an understanding of it, especially when they don't explain it at all or anything.
That's the number one thing with the Souls is like it just has to feel right.
You gotta feel. But just like that boss fight they showed, it looked like it's just like it's not finished or near finished at all. Like it definitely looked like it's still got a ways to go.
Yeah,
but I'm still interested.
Probably a misstep to show that, but
yeah, it's $30 though.
Oh, sweet.
Stock rising.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
There we go.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Listen up, fellas, because today we have a new Manscaped product alert. Manscaped just released the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. Ear hair trimmer. Take a look in the mirror, and I guarantee you'll see hair sticking out of those holes. Not mine, though. It's time to keep your ear and nose hair looking as nice as your clean-shaven pubes, because it's an ongoing thing that we've been talking about from Manscaped. So yeah, got it, tried it. It wasn't. I wish it could be crazy like Night and Day, like the caveman movies where it's just like, you know, they like, you know, get out there, like just off the feet. Encino Man, right? It wasn't that bad because I definitely try to not have. I'm in my 40s, so I try not to have too much hair coming out of my nose and my ears. But it definitely felt like it was doing its job, and nothing got tangled. Did not hurt. I will definitely be using this now because it is so much easier. And every time I see a nose and ear hair trimmer, I think about my mother and father-in-law, because my father-in-law got it for my mother-in-law, and she was like, "What?" And he was like, "No, it's a nice gift, you know, for you." And that did not fly well for her birthday. Like this. So you want to buy this for yourself, or maybe like a brother or something, you know, but like maybe not your spouse. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Weed Whacker. The nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. The premium Manscaped Weed Whacker uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system.
Say that 3
It's
times.
intelligently contoured. I won't. Its intelligently contoured design enhances the trimming experience, and it is waterproof, which makes for easy operation and cleaning. The only nose hair trimmer on the market with a powerful and rechargeable lithium-ion battery that lasts for up to 90 minutes of use. It's basically just simple USB, just like an iPhone. Have you ever pulled your nose hair out with your fingers? I have. That might hurt worse than nicking your balls. Manscaped is making whacking your weeds a time to look forward to, delivering maximum confidence while providing hygiene. Yes, you will get a replaceable blade every 3 months to keep your weed whacking time clean and enjoyable. Look, fellas, 79% of partners polled admit that long nose hair is a major turnoff, which, not to pause, but makes me wonder about that other 21%, you know, that's like, well.
Super into it.
Nose hair, as you say. I just want to know what the other categories are, is all I'm saying. It's time to upgrade your Manscaped routine with the Weed Whacker. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALLIES20 at manscaped.com. Thank you, Manscaped, for keeping our pubes trimmed and hairs in our holes looking nice. Sorry, Ian, I took this one because they sent it to me.
Hey.
I could have passed it on to you, but you know, there's not a lot of passing on of objects happening now between the allies. With the world the way
I've
it
got
is.
the lawnmower, so fair is fair. Lawnmower works well too.
One of you are next. Huber, you look like you might need to shave a little something. Maybe. Is that for good? You keeping that forever? The
Yeah,
beard?
at least through quarantine, probably.
All right. Get
I
20%
like
off.
it.
I love it. I absolutely
Everyone loves
love
it. I'm getting like peer pressured now to keep it.
I
You
imagine
look- you
I
look
imagine
cool, dude.
I imagine you in the shack from Evil Dead. I imagine like walking up to that. I'm gonna have a dream where I walk up to that shack and you walk out and you're like, "What's up?" And you like hold up some rabbits and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm down for rabbits.
You have to always open doors like that, and then like just stand there. Going, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Get 20% off and
does
free
that?
shipping with the code ALLIES20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code ALLIES20. What are you waiting for? Go whack your weeds. And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you.
Something that's bugging me, I don't want a correction. I know Solidus is the perfect clone, but since Solid Snake beats Liquid and Solidus, he is therefore the perfect
I was
clone.
thinking that when you're
so
talking
hold
about
your damn corrections. I
said
know
so. That was
all
bothering me.
you. Yeah.
Actually, Solidus
yeah. We
is
know.
the perfect clone.
Yeah, Solidus, because he wins. So, hold the correction.
Sometimes it's those imperfections that give you the edge, you know?
Perfect imperfections.
Yeah.
I miss Solid Snake.
Yeah, dude.
The Future Gaming Show also happened on Saturday. That's the thing we watched, brought to us by Games Radar. Hosted by Nolan North and Emily Rose, a.k.a. Nathan Drake and Elena Fisher. Did they work? I mean, obviously the banter was bad. We've already discussed
Absolutely.
that. It's a hard thing to
Kidding me?
do. But they were jolly.
Worked pretty well.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
It's just like when I you know, when you see I don't know, people you love like that worked on something get together again. It's really fun. It's exciting.
Jones,
So
I think
it's a
the
lot
script,
like that.
the script
Yeah.
was like whatever, but they have good charisma between each other because
Right,
they have so
yeah.
much experience with each other.
like when the Batmans get together and team up or something. It's just a cool little.
The
You know?
Batmans.
I love it when the Huber. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. What?
Didn't they get like all the James Bonds together or something? They've been trying to.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a comic. I was like, what?
Well, and one has to wonder if they were actually on a call together or if they just filmed their halves separately
Right.
and someone cut them
don't.
I
together.
bet they just
No, stop it.
separately.
Don't shatter the illusion for me.
I'm
You know
just
what?
saying
That's
that
how
might-
good they are.
That might explain a little bit of the stunted deliveries because they were
you
just
know-
guessing.
Hubert, you know what? You know it's a safe place to be? The middle ground, where, yes, they did, like, that conversation did not go that way, but they were on a Zoom call. They just rehearsed it. You know, they did it multiple times. So you saw different takes of different parts of different lines. Like, it wasn't necessarily, you know, backwards and forwards. What was this show about? Because it's the Future Game Show, which I
It was
get a
about the
direct...
future
It's about
games,
the future
apparently.
of games.
Which I make a direct connection, obviously, to next gen, but then we're going to be past next gen by the time we're going to get into the Future Game Show. So is it the future of next gen? The next time? What's the Future Game Show going to be like when it shows up again?
Well, what's confusing is this is like from the Future magazine group, right? That's part of why it's named that. But they had these weird little vignettes, these little documentary things in there, where like they were just trying to be a magazine essentially. You know?
But
So it turned from an announcement show into a magazine show, and just like it just felt like it kind of turned. Like it was just a random turn in the tone of everything, and it also felt like a lot of what they were saying there was so general that if you have been following what's been happening with next gen at all, it didn't have much value.
Well, it's
But
an
aren't
ad
all games future games? Like they're games that are coming out.
Technically, they're
once
in the
they
future.
come
Yeah.
out. Yeah. But I mean, I think to me it read like an ad for their magazine. Like, here's a video segment that gives you an idea of what our magazine is about.
Right.
That's what it seemed like to me.
So if you have an
Which-
ad for a weird
yeah.
Troy PC, it works. But if you have an ad for yourself, it's a little too much.
Yeah.
Then you get into paradox territory.
I need a good visual, Jones. That's why. That Troy PC was a visual.
Yeah,
It
and
looked
it
dumb,
tied
but it was a
in,
visual.
and it tied into a game, so
Yeah,
it made sense.
true.
It was kind of gaudy and ridiculous, but yes, it worked. You know, it fit the time period. It's Troy, you know, and it fit, like, I don't know.
Can you imagine having that PC in your house?
No, I
Where do
can't.
I put this?
So, certainly not in the setup I have right now. Dustborn was cool. Skater XL was cool. Sherlock Holmes was cool. There were
Yeah,
like some
that
neat...
Sherlock looks
Sherlock Holmes,
cool,
dude.
dude.
Yes.
If the promise of that Sherlock is real, which who knows, but yeah, it looked cool.
Devil's Daughter was not as
Devil's
good as Crimes
Daughter
and
was-
Punishment,
Not as good. Crimes and Punishments was good.
but I do like this origin vibe, and I'm so into that. Like year one or whatever, right?
He's a little goth boy now.
Yeah.
This Yakuza 0, dude. The
Yeah.
Sherlock.
Yeah.
Totally.
Blood, do you remember the story behind the Sherlock Holmes developer where they had a lot of their stuff that they weren't able to publish or make money on?
Ooh.
It was one thing that made me happy about this. We don't have to get
The
into
details,
those specifics again. That I'm just like teeing up a correction for next week. But I thought this company was having a tough go of it, and it's good to see that they have a fresh new Sherlock Holmes game. You know, hopefully they'll show up in next gen with a lot of fun stuff. And Dustborn was really great. How come I'm not really remembering? I remember they were on a
Yeah.
bus, but like.
Yeah, I'm like, which? Oh, that
yes,
the robot driving
yes.
the bus. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dustborn looks sick.
Dude. Yes.
Apparently a generic title, maybe a bad title, but
Better than-
the
better than
game looks
Returnal.
amazing.
Better than
Well, Returnal
but there's time.
looks cool.
The biggest with this whole thing was this news that got out there. I don't know how much they were promoting it or whether people were just hyped that Square Enix was going to be a part of this show.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're waiting, and then all right, here it comes, and it's Outriders, which has been really hard to get people to get
Yeah,
behind.
it has an uphill battle.
And they're not even showing anything. They're just like, hey, tune in, we're gonna have a preview next month. Okay, that's
Another
it.
misfire, dude.
Yeah, what?
Because
Whoops.
Project Aetha or whatever was at the PS5 thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that looks dope.
Well,
yeah,
prepare
this
to wait,
was-
because that game's far away.
Oh no, yeah. If it ever comes out, that's like 4 or 5 years away.
Should have announced a new Kingdom Hearts game at the Future Game Show. Any new Kingdom Hearts games happening, Brad?
Yeah, there's like that rhythm one.
Yeah, dude.
And I think there's
Yeah.
a second one
Melody of Memory.
where you're like Kyrie. So it's literally phase 2 of Marvel, pretty much. I guess Nomori actually is a Marvel fan, I heard. And like Huber, I heard like Infinity War was his most anticipated movie
Hell yeah.
of like the year. I was like, oh shit.
Dude,
So like
of all time.
I haven't like fully delved in Jones, but like a rhythm game, like whatever. I don't really care.
I like knowing what Kojima's watching. Like Kojima's really good about that. Where he's like watching this album, listen
Yeah.
to this album right now, and I'm like, there's no reason not to cue that up. But did we like? I thought Saturday was a little tiring, but it's just a lot of stuff. And like you said, Huber, all of this stuff is just flying past you. I was debating playing a game, but it seemed a little disingenuous and cruel, where I was just gonna like screen share a JPEG and be like, "What's this? Remember this?" And you're like, Potionomics. Remember this? But at the same time, we all get to pick our favorite things. Stuff like this really resonates, especially when a lot of stuff's getting demos and you really pay attention. Like, okay, that's 2021, but I definitely want to put that on my radar. My favorite game, which I know you're all dying to hear, XO1, which is in the Guerrilla Conference. Thank you, Daniel Bloodworth, who remembered this. I had no idea what it was called. Again, XO1. Anybody? XO1.
What? I
Yeah,
don't remember.
exactly. This is one of the first games they had in Guerrilla, and it's with the ball frisbee game. So you're just like in a ball. It's like Journey, and you're just like
Yeah.
you're going through trees and then gliding up canyons, and then you turn into the frisbee and like
Yeah, it's like Flower, but you're a frisbee.
It's like
Flower meets
Race
Marble
the Sun.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, meets
If I gotta
Marble
get through
Madness.
another EA Play with no SSX announcement, it's like, all right, at least get this crazy thing. But it also kind of looks like what, Race the Sun, Speed the Sun. What was the
Race the
Ian,
Sun, yeah.
Race the Sun that you
Race
really
the Sun,
liked?
yeah.
Just kind of seems like you
Race
just
the Sun is sweet.
XO1 has a demo, right? I think it does.
oh my goodness, what am I doing, guys?
What are you doing?
Guys, this is gonna be a really good podcast. We're gonna skip bets. We're gonna skip the rest of it, so I can play too many demos. There's also that game that is downloading to my PlayStation 4 right now, which I will play later tonight. Yeah,
Steam has 900 demos, one of which the featured demos was Heavy Rain. I was like, what? Why is that one
Right.
of the featured demos?
a lot of other stuff happened this week, but there's one specific headline that I want to talk about because I'm passionate about it, but I also got Michael Huber here, and I know Huber's passionate about it. Huber, I know you know this. AT&T looking to sell Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment.
Let's dive in, Jones. Let's dive in.
AT&T, letting it go. No comment yet from Warner Brothers. The price is estimated somewhere between $2 and $4 billion. AT&T originally acquired Warner Brothers through their $109 billion Time Warner acquisition. And they don't Warner Brothers does not own Harry Potter license or the DC Comics license, although they use it for a bunch of stuff. According to CNBC, Take-Two Interactive, Electronic Arts, Activision, Blizzard among buyers. No one could get a quote from any of those companies. Are you nervous? Are you happy? Are you just waiting to get more information? Huber, what's going on?
Definitely. I know nothing about backdoor shady deals. I know nothing about business like this. It does add fuel to the Batman Arkham speculation now. It's like, has there been turmoil? Has there been, did they hold off? Maybe they were going to actually show it a while ago and then they had to change their plans because of some internal buyout or selling. So it definitely adds another layer to this whole 7-year Arkham tease.
Batman Arkham, Huber? I mean, I played Night. They had a cool ending. Like that secret ending you can unlock. Was there other stuff?
Yeah, WB Montreal was teasing it for over a year.
Yeah. Could Rocksteady be making a new Batman thing? But they said they weren't going to do that, maybe. But we don't know.
They said they were not doing Superman,
Right.
and I think they're not doing Batman, but apparently it's going to be part of the DC universe was the rumor. The DC fandom event has been announced for August, which is some 24-hour DC event, so that seems like a likely place now for these games to pop up. But buyouts really make me nervous because, Rocksteady made really amazing Batman games, and if you get sold off to someone, then, business and money starts getting even more involved. Maybe they go in a new direction. You want these companies to be able to be creative and be themselves and make what they want to make. So it's definitely makes me a little uneasy. Especially if Blizzard or EA or something buys them. Those are not the companies I want controlling, my beloved Rocksteady.
I look at a lot of these companies, Huber, and I see a lot of projects wrapping up. I see a lot of people that we kind of know are working on stuff, and that's either this year or next year or like just about to be announced. And so I wonder, is that when you sell a company? Is that when you're like, okay, before we, you know, draft up any other contracts, let's just dump all of this stuff because it just seems like the right time to do so. Anything that's not doing that is like hasn't announced yet or is like a mobile series. But
You know, I mean, the first thing I thought of, and I saw kind of the internet thinking the same thing, is who needs this the most? Microsoft. Microsoft
sure.
swoops in and gets something like Batman exclusively. Like, you know, like, I don't want to start a console war, obviously, but like Microsoft, you know, it's an arms race for exclusives, in my opinion, when it comes. Yeah, and this seems like a huge get for anyone that swoops in.
I mean,
and nails Batman.
Batman v Spider-Man. I mean, that's a narrative you can write right now.
Yeah,
those comics do exist. But again, they don't get the DC license because they license that for each individual game.
Yeah,
they just get those devs. They just get these people who are working on what, you know. We don't know. We don't really know what Warner Bros.
Like what if Rocksteady doesn't want to do Batman or something? They just do something else.
So
just Rocksteady has so much talent that'd be such a get for any company out there.
Well, and I wonder though, like, if Microsoft or whatever wanted to buy Warner Brothers Interactive, and Rocksteady was working on a Batman game, but like, how does that deal work? Do you have to renegotiate the DC license, or is it like grandfathered in for that one project?
I think Microsoft just doesn't get to touch the money coming from that game at all. It's just like that's that clean break that I wonder if all of these companies are like, they're at a modest stopping point to where we can just kind of, you know, tell when one money's going to go in one direction versus another.
And NetherRealm also involved in this as well.
Let's get through the again. All I see. That's the other thing too, Huber. All I see is like movie license or close to movie themed video gamey stuff. So I want to go through each of these, but that's another thing that people are talking about too. Is Warner Brothers really is kind of one of the last remnants of Hollywood really caring about games. Like Disney dumped their division. It's just like people are fine passing out their licenses, but like actually being involved in this, it's interesting to see such a divide between Hollywood and the gaming industry. But that was definitely the way a lot of other people have seen it. I want everybody to imagine they have $4 billion. Okay, there's 10 properties, 10 companies
Only
within $4 billion, and then you got 200 mil to spend on each of these. I know some of these are probably worth more than others, but just think about at least that money, $200 million. You got TT Games, who's launching Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which I'm definitely looking forward to this year. Worth $200 million? You buying it?
No.
You're not buying TT?
No.
You don't think those Lego games sell?
If you're doing it for the money, then yeah.
I'm doing it for the creative passion. I don't care about bottom line.
Well, those Lego games sell well, though.
Not
you're
passionate.
right, Glad.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I think they do well.
They do pretty well.
Huber, you're probably buying Rocksteady.
100%.
And you're probably buying NetherRealm. Anyone not?
I'm buying Rocksteady and NetherRealm and saying, have fun, I'll write the checks. Do whatever you want to do.
Are you buying Monolith Productions, which may or may not be working on Middle-earth Shadow 3, whatever that ends up being? Or something similar.
And I'm hiring Brad Ellis as creative director on this project.
Yeah, I'll write the script.
Ian, you are not buying that. You shook your head. You're sad.
I didn't like Shadow War. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, my first thing would be like, yo, we gotta change this combat up.
Yeah. I would go in and make some sweeping changes, and then
I don't want to feel like a robot anymore.
WB Games Boston, formerly Turbine, who made Lord of the Rings Online, recently a DC MOBA, and a bunch of mobile stuff. And anybody that's touching mobile at this company, I think, is an easy trade, just in terms of like, whatever that little tiny thing you're doing, cancel that. We're going to start you with something new once it moves over to your new buyers. Anyone? 200 mil? WB Games Boston?
somebody like that to me is interesting because, like Huber said, you could acquire them and like have them finish or cancel their old stuff and then just say like, yo, free reign, what do you want to do? Like, be creative and see what comes out of that, you know?
That's the best of all possible worlds. We'll see, depending on who. Will Microsoft do that? Avalanche Software, Huber. Talk about emotional.
Yeah, Jones.
You know what I'm talking
For
about?
For you, Jones. 100%. Just
potentially working on? No. That's Avalanche Studios, bro. Avalanche Software is even more for me.
Different.
What did Avalanche Software make, buddy? What did Avalanche Software? Avalanche Software
Disney
ripped
Infinity?
my
Disney Infinity.
Ripped my heart out.
Jones. All the money
You had
for
a
this.
chance and you blew. No, I would never do that. That's a wonderful team they have over there. I completely blame Disney 100%. But they also did that Cars 3 game. They've been keeping busy, and rumors been flying around that weird Harry Potter game we saw but didn't see was them as well. So again, a project wrapping up. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe get that by the end of 2021. And so if this really changes hands, that can be, different people depending on where that money goes. Playdemic they own. That's just mobile. Of course, I'm buying all of the mobile things, but WB Montreal games, I don't think they're making anything. WB Games San Francisco is making mobile stuff. Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Again, it's just movies.
That thing.
Even Mortal Kombat, all these movie licenses. Like, there's just a lot of Hollywood going on in this company. And WB Games San Diego, established last year and making mobile stuff, but I don't think they've announced anything I could find.
So is a big sale like this, is this usually a bad thing? Does this mean there's some kind of inner turmoil or a problem, or it's just business and AT&T is like, we're going a different way now?
I'm glad you asked that, Huber.
Game trailers.
The Warner. Disney Infinity is all I can take right now. I can't take a game trailer / Disney Infinity conversation. Both dead.
God.
Hey, we got a YouTube channel. Damn it. Huber, I'm glad you asked that question. Warner Media CEO John Stankey is replacing Randall Stevenson as CEO of AT&T on July 1st. So the head of Warner Entertainment Media is leaving Warner and going to be the head of AT&T, and so he's probably just like maybe one of the last people that cares, or maybe doesn't care. What's his angle in terms of like how much money he thinks they should be spending on that. And I got to imagine it's kind of the same thing as Disney. It's not like, this makes money. It's just not. It's not in our plans. It's just not what we're doing right now. And I don't know if they're doing all of this licensed stuff and looking around at everybody else, these big companies that own these big properties that are just kind of like throwing all of their licenses around to different stuff. It's like, do we want to invest this heavily? Let's just go make movies.
The WB Games is kind of a special case because, like you said, it is a lot of licensed stuff, and like obviously you can have huge successes with that. Like the Batman series and Spider-Man was a big, huge success, but like it is an added cost, and you don't own that IP, So like, I wonder. I don't know what you have to pay for a license for Batman or whatever. I assume it's not peanuts. So it's like, do these games, since all of them or most of them are licensed, do they have like a less, is the threshold smaller that it kind of adds up over time, that you're not making as much as you love to be making, especially for a subdivision? I don't know. Yeah.
But these are all just juicy rumors. We have no idea. We haven't.
I love talking about this.
A lot of people reporting it, but we'll see. We'll find out later. Huber.
Microsoft should really swoop in. That'd be such a big get.
That would be a big get.
Write those checks, dude.
That's
like
pretty
Rocksteady.
That seems expensive for Microsoft, though. $4 billion?
Yeah.
Can you buy piecemeal? Because like Rocksteady is one of the premier game developers in the world,
All or nothing.
hands down. You got it.
Yeah,
So it's all or nothing.
Well, we
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, it's just like, you're saying like WB Games, like it's in the name, like it's Warner Brothers. So it just feels strange to like, we're just going to cut off this part of Warner Brothers, which everything that they're doing is kind of tied into that.
And in a trade like this, like an acquisition like this, a lot of it is stocks and weird stuff like that. So it's not like cash on the barrel head, as they say, whatever that means.
Cash on the barrel head.
I don't know what that means. It's an old saying. I don't know. But yeah. So who knows what shady dealings, they could do.
Hubert, you think at the WB game reveal on August 22nd in DC fandom, you think that might have Batman news?
Yes. I refuse to give up. I refuse to lose hope. They have teased this thing so many times in so many ways. There have been rumors, like, just all signs point to this game existing. This is the time now. This is the spot.
Well, they announced that. We'll see.
Yes.
The DC Fandome. The
Yeah,
first
Jones,
video
if
game.
it doesn't show up here now, if it
All
doesn't,
hope is lost.
no, seriously,
Abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship. If it doesn't show up, the game doesn't exist, or it's
Cuber,
in
the
development hell.
Xbox event.
Right?
Yeah, that too, I guess.
That
Which
first part-
is before though.
Xbox is before, right?
Okay.
Do we have a date for Xbox? I don't know.
Yeah,
July,
if
Isn't
it,
it July?
July 14th.
July.
yeah, if we
Pretty
don't
sure.
if we don't see it by fandom, like abandoned
hope,
ship,
dude.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's gonna be a long emotional summer. The first video game based treatment for ADHD. It was approved by the Food and Drug Administration. There's a lot of
Very
things that people talk about that
yeah.
are not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It's a prescription game. You can't just go get this. You got to get this prescribed to you.
really?
Yeah. Which a lot of people feel weird about. They're like, hey, what if I can't afford it, or what if medical insurance doesn't provide for it? But it'll be interesting to see that and that kind of thing
They've,
be proliferated.
Quick story. They've used video game-esque things to test for ADHD for a long time, because when I was a kid and I never behaved in school, I had myself tested, and the doctor was like, wait here. So I waited, and then he took me in the next room like 5 minutes later, and they showed me this computer that had like stuff blinking and moving around, and I had to like follow it and like do whatever I had to do. And then after that, test was done. The doctor was like, yeah, obviously he doesn't have ADHD, because I told him to wait, and he did. And I was like, oh, all right. But it was a video game too after that.
Yeah, and that
So-
day you knew you wanted to get into games journalism. That was the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. And then I was like, computers.
Ziggurat Interactive bought licenses Blood Rain, Advent Rising, Raises Hell, and Flip's Twisted World. Flip's Twisted World. For anyone?
Free.
Wonder Swan.
For free, yeah, free to play. Nintendo Wii. Had to look that. That's all I know. I saw box art.
Okay, that's what
I saw box art. That's all I know. Advent Rising, though. Anybody remember Advent Rising?
I do
So
remember
funny.
that was written by
No.
Orson Scott Card or something.
And they
like
wanted
that?
to give you $1 million. There was like $1 million giveaway or
right.
something. And then like the ending was totally like, see you in the next game. And then,
Yeah.
there's no Advent Rising 2.
Blood Rain though.
Gearbox is suing Apogee Software, aka 3D Realms, for breach of Duke Nukem acquisition contract.
Again?
Good for them. Yeah,
It's not. It's
fight.
not worth fighting over.
Right,
It's
the
like
Duke
not.
You fighting over Duke Nukem?
Like I know I'm all about franchises, and I'm always like bring remasters, sequels, and everything. And it's like, let things die. Duke Nukem is dead. Bury it. It's over.
Was Duke in our game trailers list of top 10 franchises that need to die?
Well, I'm
Guaranteed.
Sure.
I don't think
Guaranteed.
it. I don't know if it was. We probably forgot about it.
Real quick,
Insomniac
shout
Games.
out to the game Let It Die.
Shout out.
Shout out Grasshopper Manufacturing.
Insomniac Games confirmed the female Lombax is playable in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which Cal Bossman called Ripped a Fart, which I think is good. People were super confused, but Miles Morales is officially a standalone game. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
different people at Insomniac were saying different things. No, it's its own game.
Unclear yet though if it's like a full
I
length
think
game.
it's a smaller game, isn't it?
They-
Probably.
people keep throwing around
We don't
Lost
know.
Legacy,
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Because I don't think
Right.
they can make a whole nother game. that
Official
fast.
people have thrown that out, or is that just everyone's assumption?
I saw someone at
Well,
Sony say it
assumption.
would. That's how you should
Yeah.
think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Lost Legacy kind of thing.
Yeah, I just didn't know if
I
that was
mean,
official.
it's a Sony quote that made this whole thing confusing to begin with.
Yeah.
Which you
So
love to see.
Insomniac had to correct them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just wait and see.
Kingdom
wait.
Hearts Melody of Memory was announced, a music rhythm game, to which I believe, Brad, you said, sure, I'll play it. I think
It's gonna have canon story, Jones, so I have to play.
Ah,
it.
there we
Everything
go.
is canon in those games, so I have to play it.
There we go.
It's going to be essential for Kingdom Hearts
It
4.
will. They showed like crazy CG cutscenes with Kyrie and stuff,
And
like
you're-
post Kingdom Hearts 3.
And you're all caught up, right, Huber? So you got to play it too.
Oh, I'm 100% in for this one. Rhythm
Alright.
game with that music. Oh yeah.
The summer edition of the Steam Game Festival features over 900 demos,
Sick.
which I was like, gonna message you, Blood, and be like, what are we gonna do? Should we play some? What? Like, I guess first come, first serve. Any of you want to do previews or anything on any of these 900
Yeah,
games? you can
but
play?
yeah, as Ian mentioned, like 900 demos does not mean demos for games that are not out yet.
Yeah.
So it's like a real job just to sift through that
Have
stuff.
fun.
Real grab bag.
Speaking of Steam, Persona 4 Golden's on there. You can go get
Hey.
that.
Yeah.
TwitchCon
For
San Diego.
$20.
Yeah. No, oh, really?
cheap.
I didn't know. Wow, nice.
Yeah, cheaper than I thought.
TwitchCon San Diego canceled. They are quote unquote exploring ways to do something else this year. PAX West and Australia both
How will
canceled.
Twitch do something that's not
Yeah.
live?
Well, it's,
What could
yeah.
they do?
It's all about the details, and I read up on PAX West and Australia both canceled, now working together to do PAX Online. It's happening instead over 9 days in September, and there were a lot of just very, even though Twitch is obviously going to do something online, it's the specific FAQ of like, what are you doing? When is it? How do I get involved? How's it going to work? A lot of that information is up if you want to check that out for PAX Online. They made an official announcement, and you better believe I'm going to submit like 20 different types of panels, because you can just send video, which I think is interesting.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah, I think a lot of those are just going to be pre-recorded, which is your favorite thing. You make videos,
Let's
right?
do one. I've made a few.
Yeah. 2020 Star Wars Celebration canceled. Did not expect that to happen. Got bumped to 2022. So they're just like, it's kind of like Halley's Comet. They were just like, see you in the next cycle. Like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, later. The director of Horizon's Forbidden West announced a game scheduled for 2021, which was not specifically stated. Horizon. Fortnite Season 3 sank the map. 12 million players were played. Epic capped it. They were like, that is it. Of course, the 8.4 million that watched on YouTube and other, places were pretty pissed they didn't get to play, but it's still pretty nuts.
That's pretty
mil.
lame. Excluding people for your free-to-play game. Like, that's... Like, I get it was probably for technical reasons, but at the same time, it feels a little shady, because now they got the Twitch records and the YouTube records, like, spiking their numbers.
So wait, were you just put in a queue? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, they said to show up 30 minutes. I didn't go. I didn't do it. I haven't played Fortnite in a minute, but they said show up 30 minutes before, but then, like, 30 minutes before, it was like, hey, we're full.
Yeah, people showed up a day before.
Yeah, people were in there way before and got
I didn't know
locked
Fortnite
out.
could get full.
It's a Fortnite record, so I don't know, Huber. When they keep breaking records,
Right.
and they cap, it's hard to say. I mean, it's just I could totally see both sides of that. But
Worth
thankfully,
noting that there was some first-person gameplay in there. Just want to throw that out there. It looked really cool.
sniffing it, and Jason Momoa.
Aquaman.
Equaman, as they said in the actual video. Jump rope challenge is on Nintendo Switch, out of nowhere.
Built-in quarantine, my understanding.
And everybody for like a day was like, "Oh, Nintendo, you're not doing anything." And then Nintendo announced a new Pokemon Snap game called New Pokemon Snap, which is so great because if you hadn't seen our stream, you don't know anything about Easy Allies. This is one of the good ones. This is one of the games that we hold very dear to our hearts. But man, it is not hard to find people on the internet that are like, "What? Like, what is this? This game doesn't look as good as Pokemon Shield," and you're like, "What?"
I think that was the first console Pokemon game, right, Blood?
Stadia?
Ooh.
Was Stadia before Snap?
I think it was before Stadium.
I don't
do not
know
know.
about that. Yeah. But, yeah, 1999... I don't know for sure. There might have been a Pokemon Puzzle League or something already.
I bought it because it was a Pokemon game.
Right. But that wasn't the only game. You know that, right?
At that
It's like-
presentation?
Pokemon
Right.
Cafe or something?
Pokemon Cafe Mix and Pokemon Smile, a mobile app that makes brushing your teeth a fun activity for younger children.
Yay.
Dude, I did a lot of research for today's podcast. Blood, I saw Pokemon Smile. I thought somebody was joking. I'm not even kidding. I saw that on social media, and I was like, cool, because I admittedly have not seen the Pokemon thing.
Never doubt whatever Nintendo
Well,
was
Pokemon
willing to have on
Sleep
their
is
system.
a thing still.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wow.
That hasn't actually come out yet,
I don't.
though, right?
Not to my knowledge. They're just trying to take over every aspect of your life. Sleeping, brushing your teeth. Pokemon Eat coming out 2021.
Pokemon Android's going to come to your house.
Yeah,
They do in the
Pikachu
trailers.
Robot.
Cyberpunk 2077 delayed from September 17th to November 19th.
Squash
goodness.
I'm
those
fine
Dumped.
with that, especially
Bullshit.
because, as was dropped right before this podcast, thank you very much, PS5, Xbox Series X at launch.
There you go.
Yes,
At launch
this is
of
great
consoles?
news.
At launch of, those consoles.
Well,
get
when the game comes out,
At launch
it will
of the game,
launch
right.
on those consoles.
Yes.
I've honestly never been more excited for a game delay in my entire life because I do not have a PC that could run this game properly.
Yep.
So I was definitely going to have to play on current gen. Now I get to play next gen. This is great news.
And
And-
it's great that CD Projekt Red gets to squash some bugs.
Yes.
Because Witcher
do that.
3 on PS4 when it came out was rough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time. I want to play the best version. Aaron
No
Weber.
rush.
Anybody know who Aaron Weber is? At Ruby Eclipse on Twitter, the social voice of Sonic the Hedgehog for many years.
Oh.
Changed jobs at Sega. Wanted to leave
Oh
with that
yeah,
one.
I saw that.
So the dude who was just awesome. Sonic the Hedgehog and following Joe. Like kind of in an Arby's kind of way. They're just some people that are clearly blessed and gifted to do those jobs. And he was one. So shout out, Aaron. And apparently like 4 or 5 people have his job now, and I don't think he said they started working a while ago. So the transition was smooth. I don't think people noticed.
Huh.
It's time for love and respect.
Love and respect.
Jeziel
I liked
Ocampo.
that.
Did you? More than
liked-
usual?
Oh, yeah, blood there stood out. It's good inflection there.
I mean, I can lower him in the mix, though. It's like you don't know what it's going to sound like on the back end. With Spider-Man Miles Morales being a launch title, but possibly a smaller game, do you think any other first-party properties could also benefit from the PS5's launch year by getting the same treatment? Maybe a Twisted Metal Battle Royale, Resistance Fall of Man, Infamous?
I think Twisted Metal's dead.
That's
You're
the
gonna see
point.
that for a long time.
That's
yeah.
the point. You bring it back. But yeah, these. I mean, the thing is, a battle royale. I don't think so as much because this is specifically a story thing. Lost Legacy gave us more characters that we enjoyed. Featured more prominently. This is doing the exact same thing. So I don't know if Resistance or Infamous or you like those Infamous games, Blood.
This is
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Infamous
yeah,
is like they're not doing that. Right?
Infamous
They were gonna
already
go-
kind of did it with Last Light or First Light.
First
Last
Light, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Festival of Blood before
Yeah,
that.
Fistful of Blood.
Yep. And I feel like Killzone and Resistance aren't really in a place to do that. They would have to have full-on
Right.
returns.
It
Same with like Jack and
would-
Daxter.
Yeah. But it would be cool to see like a Horizon prologue or something, kind of like
Yeah,
the Dead
sure.
Rising.
That would be.
They could have done something with God of War too, like setting. I don't know if they'll do this in the second game, like setting up Kratos more so getting to Asgard, wherever the hell they are.
We are getting that
Something
little
like
big
that.
planet platformer, and we are getting that Astrobot new game. So it's interesting. They are kind of doing this for a lot of stuff. That's Sony.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Well,
be sur-
Sackboy I think is a totally different game.
That's like a
That's a game, full game. I mean.
Whereas Astrobot is basically a controller demo. Like
Yeah,
there's
a tech
there's a
demo.
real game in there, but it's mostly there to show off everything that you can do with the controller.
I hope they're doing a real 2 though. They need to do a sequel for that game.
I guess maybe the thing not in the way you were expecting is kind of what I'm thinking of.
I wouldn't
But,
be surprised if there was a smaller Resident Evil like prologue thing. Not first party, but
I feel like if they're gonna go small, it's gonna be like a Revelations, though, right?
yeah.
I was hoping Sanzaru would do something with Sly Cooper again, because it's been so long. They could definitely do a $40 game or something.
Yeah.
I think the last one was $40 too. Like, let's go, bring him back. It's ridiculous. Ratchet and Clank come back like every 2 years.
Pulling for you, Brad. I'm pulling for you, dude.
Ridiculous.
I'm pulling for you.
God.
What's funny to me though about the perception of Astrobot is like the rescue mission on VR. Like I think that was always meant to be on the same scale as the Playroom games, but somewhere along the way they just realized that like
this is
they were
sick.
they were onto something and like let's just really flesh this out. Let's make this something more significant than just a quick, hour, 2 hour experience.
Yeah.
Next Gen Hef. Hey, allies. For the last Cup of Jones, I suggested a segment based on wish lists because of how prominent the phrase add this to your Steam wish list was featured last Saturday. I'm wondering, as people in the industry, if you guys know the reason or have a theory for the big uptick in this. Is there any real financial benefit to having a bunch of people wish list your game, or is it just so you can remind people when your game's released? Keep up the great work. Stay safe. Love and respect, Next Gen Hef.
Apparently, it's very, very helpful, especially for independent developers, because
It's like a subscriber.
it shows and it shows interest.
It
like,
shows numbers.
It shows
yeah.
numbers. You can show that to an investor
Yeah.
or to whoever and say like,
Sure.
we have this many people waiting for our game. It's big. Yeah, it's actually.
It reminds me of Kickstarter involvement in that, like, even if you get a small group of people, it's like our Patreon, they're all financially supporting you and they're all excited about it and they will show up, they will stick with you throughout development. As long as you
Yeah,
don't
I
take
think it
too
also
long.
helps Steam discoverability.
Yeah.
It probably floats those games up higher, like, because you know how they like, oh, if you played this game, you'll like this as well.
Right.
That kind of stuff, for sure.
John
So, yeah, it's
often.
good. Sorry, it's just good.
It's good.
It's
We
good.
weren't making fun of it. We were just
Good.
joking about it.
Yeah, wishlist type.
I mean, we were actively wishlisting those things because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the other thing too is like, I was taking podcast notes, but like I thought about watching this and it's like, boy, I'd have to. Everybody needs a piece of paper and a pencil when they're going through those press conferences because they go by so fast. Bring up Notepad, type out your faves. John Off to Jacobson. Hi, allies. Let's speculate. With new Pokemon Snap getting announced, I was quite baffled. People have been begging for a sequel to the N64 Classic for 2 decades, and in the year 2020, we witnessed a miracle. A dead IP is now alive, and once again, I cannot fathom why. Who made the decision of making new Pokemon Snap at this moment in time? And why let the IP rest for 20 years in the first place? Was it a creative decision that the Pokemon Company finally came up with an idea for a sequel, or is it market research? In 2020, a photography game will definitely be a hit. Hoping for some quality industry insight into these kinds of decisions. Joe Maggs also wrote a massive paragraph about this, but it essentially says what, why Pokemon Snap, why now? To me, I thought it made a good fit for the Switch, but Ian, you were grinning ear to ear when we played that game before.
I'd never played it, and that game is a delight. I had a blast, but I think, the first thing that comes to mind is the Switch is like a camera. You're holding it, you can move it. I really hope that it lets you control it with just the controller and you don't have to
Sure.
do
Like
the
Fatal Frame. Do it both
the Fatal
ways.
Frame Wii U thing, but yeah, that to me is a no-brainer. I actually think that our stream probably was a huge contributor to this.
I feel like remakes and revivals are more in than they've ever been. So I think a lot of companies are looking into their backlogs, looking into their back catalogs, and thinking about it. And now like they said with Skate, it was like you made this happen. People probably tweet about Pokemon Snap all the time or bug people about it. Like it matters. Like people wishing for things and hyping things up and asking for them. Like people are listening. People hear that.
I mean, Pokemon Company's not afraid to touch any type of genre. I feel like they'll do whatever the hell they want with Pokemon. Like you said, they're doing Pokemon Sleep, like whatever the hell that is.
Which is kind of why we didn't react to the Snap because
And people are
they were like,
actually
"Oh, you want
wanting
Pokemon
Snap."
news?" It's like that could mean anything.
Yeah, it could literally mean pillowcases.
There could be there was a Pokemon like women's shoes that was announced this last week. That was like, should I put that in also this week or not? Like,
But
yeah.
people have been very vocal about it for a long time, so why the hell not?
Well, and also, like, Pokemon is a very established brand, proven brand, most profitable merchandising thing, like, in the gaming space. And, like Huber said, remakes, are kind of a no-brainer. So, like, Pokemon-branded remake of a beloved thing that people keep asking for on a thing that looks like a camera, like, it was bound to happen.
Wait, is this a remake of the first one?
No,
No,
it's a
but
sequel.
it's
No, this is a new game.
Revival. I'm just saying
revival,
revivals.
Yeah, revival.
Like Doom.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we're not talking
damn.
like Skate 4 levels of pressure, but a lot of people wanted it.
Yeah. Now let's get a Fatal Frame on the Switch. That'll be
Totally.
sick. Looks like a camera. You can go with the little R1 or whatever. ZR, whatever it's called on the Switch.
Yeah. Both.
I have it right next to me.
ZR and ZL, I
Odd,
think.
R
odd
and
thing
ZR.
about these relationships sometimes with Pokemon Company announcing this. Like Nintendo's name is of course on the website for Pokemon Snap, but Nintendo does not have anything about Pokemon Snap in their press center at all.
Huh.
And it was sent out by the Pokemon Company's team rather than Nintendo's team. So, this stuff gets weird.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see Pokemon start getting ahead of Nintendo in terms of like a lot of their announcements. But obviously, we think of those two things together. It's time for bets. Ian, make yourself look pretty. If everybody's just listening to this, that's fine, but you are missing out on some visual entertainment, which you might not think Easy Allies is capable of. I did like that one. I'm glad you're going with it this time, because with the blackness behind you, it's like
Yeah,
the,
Yeah,
it's like
dude, that looks
it's like Ghostbusters
awesome.
2. Ian's
That's the coolest shit I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
It's
Janusz
Janusz.
in the hallway.
Yeah,
Knowing
just so you know.
knowing vibes.
That's a scary shot when they look down and
Next week's bet. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom comes out next week. I'm going to look at the last 10 reviews on OpenCritic.com. How many times will I see the word pineapple? Pineapple. Ian Hank, how many times?
12. I don't even have a background on.
12?
12.
Wow, that's a lot. Brad Ellis.
3.
3. Michael Huber.
2.
2.
Shit.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Shit.
2. There it is. 2.
He didn't give two shits about this bet.
4.
Oh, well, I went 1.
How dare you?
So that's a lot of
1.
different numbers. I thought they were going to be very close together, but those are a lot of different numbers there, which I will now promptly lock in. Last week's bet, last Saturday now, is the Guerrilla Collective live PC gaming show and the Future Games Showcase. By this time next week, which of these videos will have the most views and by how much? The Guerrilla Collective, the PC gaming show, or the Future Games show? I bet the Guerrilla Collective by 20,000. Bloodworth bet the PC gaming show by 41,000. Ian, you were with me with Guerrilla at 20,000. Huber bet PC gaming show by more, 48,000.
You look really pretty, dude.
And
This is the my twin filter.
You look very pretty.
it's obvious, Huber. It's not distracting. And Michael Damiani also bet PC gaming show, but the most at 50,000. Now, here's the catch. I think it's fair to go with Guerrilla and the Future Games Show by their respective channels. Obviously, Future Game Show is Games Radar, and so Games Radar was the place to go to watch the Future Game Show. And PC Gamer obviously put on the PC Gaming Show, and so you would go to PC Gamer to watch that. The Guerrilla Collective had their own channel. They had the Guerrilla. If you go to the website, it says "Watch Here." No one went to watch it there. Everybody watched that on IGN or on GameSpot or with us, but nothing that was officially a part of the Guerrilla Collective. So the Guerrilla Collective had like 5,000 views. And PC Gaming Show had like 500,000. I mean, PC Gaming Show destroyed. I think I could check them now, but when I checked earlier today, Future Game Show was at top 100s or maybe beginning in 200,000 something, but PC Gaming Show just demolished. And all three of you bet on that, but Damiani had the highest bet at 50K, so I will give that to Damiani. No idea where Damiani was, but he's not Huber, so Brad, I will pass that on to you.
Oh.
So you can help us wrap up the show. But before we do that, that brings our scores to Jovial Penguins 4.
Oswald Cobblepot.
Cool. Astonished Scorpions 3. See what numbers smaller, Blood?
Mm-hmm.
We were in the lead for a while.
I mean, I picked the right conference at least.
Ooh. Ooh, Little Trouble in Paradise.
You think you got me.
Scorpions.
Let me tell you, all of you as well, listen up about patreon.com/easyallies. Patreon.com/easyallies is where you would want to go to financially support us. A lot of people are supporting lots of things financially nowadays. A lot of people need support in this world of ours. But this is how we make a living. This is how we do our jobs. There's lots of, we got the YouTube money coming in. We have, you can check out and subscribe to our stuff on Twitch. Thank you for checking out our podcast, however you chose to. But if you want to learn more about us, or if you want to get engaged in a lot of the stuff that we do that is not podcasts, but more show-like stuff, and streams and reactions that we have talked about, because we reacted to all of these events that we discussed in this podcast. Patreon.com/easyallies is where you go to get virtually anything. You can also go to our website to get our schedule in your time zone. But Patreon's a fun site. We try to put a lot of content up there. Lots of ways you can get involved. We'd appreciate if you check it out. We definitely appreciate people at the shout-out tier, which is people who have definitely supported Easy Allies this month. And will shout them out now. I will be going after Ian as usual. Huber, you're after me. You're after me, just like last week. Easy. You're after me. Brad, you're after Huber. And Blood, you're almost always last, but you're going after Brad. Ready? Shout out to Blue, Caleb Togi Crawford, L. Fanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, and one of our patrons chose to do a sponsored patron pledge for Black Lives Matter.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Right on. Brad Ellis, you get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off. Despite technical issues, we did it. We made it to the end of the podcast.
We
made
it.
Zoom. Ha
Check out the newest episode of Hunting Huber.
Nice.
It's Patreon only at this moment.
Speaking of
It'll be
Patreon.
available next week for everybody. A wonderful edit by Ian.
Thank
I
you.
laughed several
How do I
times.
see?
Hunt.
How do I see that on Patreon, Brad? How do we go get it?
Patreon.com. Just go on Patreon.com/easyallies, baby. You'll find it.
How much?
$1.
$1.
Anything.
Just $1.
Nice.
That's all it takes, baby. You can watch me hunt Huber and Lothric. It's good times. Uh-oh. We froze.
I
but we're
spoke
back.
too soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right at the end.
We're back. You can follow me at Bradley Ellis87 on Twitter if you want. I miss Sly Cooper.
If you want. Seems like a
Oh, do we not do that anymore?
No, we don't.
Is
We
that
don't do
not a
Twitter
Kyle
handle
thing?
anymore.
Oh, well, you get it for free,
Brandon
baby.
killed it,
It's
but people keep.
It's a random
yeah.
thing to bring up, frankly self-serving. But for some
You
reason,
did it anyway, baby.
for some reason, I'm following you, right, Brad? I was compelled to for a second there. You sold it well.
Yeah, I miss Sly Cooper. Bring him back. And as always, be excellent to each other.
I don't know what you're saying, Jones.